Okay, there we go. All right. No one's no one's here yet since I just started the stream, but just before, if anybody's looking back at the stream as a VOD, I'm going to start off by talking about different changes from 2K25 and uh, where I think there's going to be some big opportunities for defensively and offensively in the new game. So, let's get into it. Also, the plan is as soon as somebody joins the chat, uh, I'll probably introduce the channel and then go back to the commentary. Let them know if they have any questions. But I'm planning that it's going to be a lot of commentary. If somebody wants to join, then they can come in and ask questions. But it's mainly going to be a commentary video where I talk about a lot of different things that have been going on in my mind. Wait, let me check to see the audio is working. Okay, yeah, audio's fine. Um, so it's going to be basically commenting on a lot of different things that I've been wanting to talk about, so I can just go straight into a video and talk about it as opposed to having to edit and do everything else that would normally go involved into making a video. Anyways, let's start over with the settings, and I kind of want to start on defense. So, um, the current gen may be a little bit more, maybe a little different. I'm not aware of too many more changes that are available for the current gen. However, for the past gen, which is what I'm using, the past gen is got basically the same settings that it has. However, there's been a couple of changes to the actual settings that I kind of want to talk about. Welcome. I'm gonna be talking about different things as far as the game. Then I may be talking about some different concepts. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So on ball, this is exactly the same that it worked before. However, for the off ball, what I typically would do is use gap, but I noticed that they close out a lot slower than they used to. So I think this, even though it's the same setting, it may be changed in the we may change the setting in the future a little bit. Um, on ball, off ball, force direction all work the same. I also noticed that for um, for on ball screens, ice still does not look like it works properly. So I just generally never use ice. It just flat out does not work. What I do like to do though is to do opposite for the screens as what I do for the pressure. So say for instance, I have gap here, then I'll go over on the screens, and if I have tight or smother, then I'll go under. I can show what I think I can show what that looks like and why. Let me turn the ball over so I can show it on the other side. I'm going to continue on defensive settings, go to the offensive settings, and then I'll get to some plays in a second. Did I really? I still got the ball? Wow. Can I just go out of bounds? There we go. Alright, let me show why. So when the screen is coming, what I typically would do is if I'm playing gap or if I'm playing off right here, when the screen comes, they're going to set the screen where I'm standing at. So when you're playing off, what you can do is now you can come up and they can get a moving screen. But on the contrary, if I come up right here and I play tight, then what that does is whenever the screen gets set and they come to set the screen here, they're setting the screen so high up that I can go under and the screen is going to be set basically wherever I'm at. So whatever I'm doing on that setting, uh, on the on-ball pressure, I'm going to do the opposite over here. If I'm playing tight, I go under. If I'm playing loose, then I go over. Stay attached. Typically, I mean, so far none of these have changed. The post hasn't changed. Double team hasn't changed. Pre-rotate. Nothing else has really changed. The only possible thing that I've noticed is on the off-ball pressure. The closeout is a little bit late. Maybe I'll talk about what settings I run in a second. Let me go to the offensive settings. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The layout looks slightly different, but all the freelances are the same. Not a single thing is different. I heard in current generation they have a 5-out freelance. However, the 5-out freelance isn't really that. I mean, you have freelances that are 5-out. I know people typically will use Hawks or they'll use, I think it's Bucks. I don't know. I don't run 5-out, which does actually bring me to another point. So let me let him score real quick. Okay, so in the previous game in 2K24, whenever you ran a pick and roll, so let me go pick and roll with Wimby, you can notice right away that it stays in whatever freelance that you are in. So right here, Sohan is staying in the exact same spot that he was in, regardless of the fact that I'm running a pick and roll. In the previous game in 24, if I call pick and roll, the rest of the team are going to space out, 1 on the strong side corner and 2 on the weak side corner. So that means that what I would want to do is change to a freelance, and that's where it becomes a little bit more important. Change to a freelance that's going to cause us to have 5 out. So let's say Princeton. I think Princeton does a reasonable job with 5 out, or 21 as well. Okay, so why do I not have? Okay, because I'm used to it on this spot. Okay, so let's do Princeton. So on Princeton, it's going to be a fairly spaced out court. Not the best, but when I run the screen, I'm able to have a little bit better spacing than if I ran the exact same place, but on the previous time, it had Sohan in the paint. So now Sohan is outside of the paint, which means that the freelance that you choose is going to have a little bit of effect on the pick and roll that you ran, whenever you call it. You can't just space it by using pick and roll by itself. You can do pass and screen away, which naturally gives you a little bit of spacing. So let me pass it to the top. So from the top, you always have this kind of 5-out spacing, almost. So I can go pass and screen away, and then immediately into a pick and roll. So that would be something that would work as well. So here, go pass and screen away. Try it one more time. And then from here, call a pick and roll. Gives me a little bit of spacing. But again, this position where Champagny is, right here, is the position he would be on the Princeton freelance. So that tells me that I need to change something different that's going to give me a little bit more spacing. Actually, as a matter of fact, the Jazz freelance has some pretty unique spacing that I think would actually take advantage of this. All right, so let's switch to the Jazz. On the Jazz freelance, on the weak side of the court, you can have. Let's see if he does it. No, let's swing it around. That's going to cause the big man Sohan to come over. Okay, so on the Jazz freelance, we have this here, and typically when you would call a pick and roll, square would come over to the strong side corner. I have not tried this before, but now let's see what it does. Ah, shoot. Wrong button. I'm still getting used to the different icons, and as a matter of fact, since we're kind of talking about it, one thing that I've been really impressed with is how versatile Wimby is. It's made me want to try putting him at every single different position. At the point guard, power forward, center, playing with 3 bigs on the floor. It's really good. Yo, welcome. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different concepts. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. Okay, so let's try to get to the set that I'm trying to talk about. All right, so in the Jazz with the freelances, the way they made the change, whenever you call the pick and roll, it should not space to the 5 out that it used to do before. Right here, there's nobody in the corner, so you got an empty corner screen. Typically, X, the person on the opposite wing, will cut to the corner. So let me show it a little bit cleaner. So typically, when I call a pick and roll, this person will cut to the opposite corner over here. Because of the change in 2K25, he stays in that corner, and you're able to finally run an empty corner pick and roll. That is actually really nice. That is really nice. And then I'd imagine that the same goes if I run a pick and roll with the opposite big. I'm able to at least keep it a little bit high, which is good because that means that the big, let me rewind a little bit. The big that's going to be rotating on the back side, you're going to be put into a bind because he's going to either come from the top here, or you're going to have to rotate from this opposite corner over here, which is a harder rotation, which is actually, it's actually a pretty big buff to the freelancers. Other than that, not much changed on the freelancers. I do want to talk about the actual in-game controls. So let me switch over to defense real quick. I can use another control right now, but I think I'm fine. I should be able to get my point across. All right. So this is something that's pretty big, and it's been making a really big difference with me on defense these last few days. So let me zoom out a little bit. So we talked about how the pick and roll does not space out like it used to space out, which is big for the defense because typically pick and roll was very hard to guard since it would automatically default as to a 5-out offense. Now it's not going to do that, so it's going to allow you to keep bigs inside the paint a lot easier. One thing that also was not easy to do is whenever your man will be setting a pick, anytime they ran a pick and roll, you cannot switch. You can't switch on anybody who's involved in the action. Let me wait a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So before, when you were running a pick and roll, or when the opponent was running a pick and roll, Paul would not be able to switch. For anybody who doesn't know, switching is holding X. You hold X button, and 2 players near each other are going to switch. Whoever you're usering, and whoever is nearest you. I think you may be able to control a little bit by the left analog. So if I move to the left, it's going to switch with the person on the left. But it was a little bit hectic, so I haven't really tested enough. But basically, hold X, switch players. All right. Anyways, in 2K24, and I think previous generations as well, the on-ball guard, so in this case, Chris Paul, I cannot guard with him and switch. I also can't switch with him if I'm on this side either. So neither of these guys could I use that control and hold X and switch over here. The same goes with whoever's involved in the screen with the screener's man. So I can't switch with him over here, and I also had a hard time switching with these guys here. So it made it really difficult. Now, with the buff to the switching mechanic, now what it allows for you to do is to be able to switch with any of the players involved, just as what you typically would do. What that means is that when they're running this pick and roll, what I like to do is have Sohan come up and hedge up here, and basically show, and Wemby is going to come over, just show for a second, prevent that lob over the pass, and then everything goes back to normal. However, there was a lot of issues that would happen. So say, for instance, I wanted to run that strategy. Say he set the screen with Sengun over here. He had him come set the pick. Okay, as soon as he calls for Sengun to come set the pick, that means I can't switch off anymore. Now what that allows is, say I want Wemby to be the help defender in the paint. If he calls Sengun to come set the pick, I can immediately hold X and switch to mean that a nearby player is going to come and be involved in that pick and roll defense, and that allows Wemby to stay in the paint. So right here, I obviously can't because I'm already involved in helping in the paint, but I was trying to show in a second to see what that's going to look like. Let me see if I can get another controller going. Let me see. So, and this was not in the game. In the no, dang it, that's the wrong controller. Give me a sec. Okay. Also, by the way, my I used my wife's account and my account for my account. I'm top five players on the overall ladder. For my wife's account, top five, top 100, and that's with me quitting many of the games. So I feel like I've had a great deal of success, and I think it's I think I might know a thing or two. So let's get into it. So let me choose sides. All right. So let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. All right. So typically what would happen is a player might come over here and say, all right, I see Wimby is guarding square. I'm going to have Wimby come up, and now I have to be involved in this pick and roll. Before, I could not switch off, and that means that if they're going to do something like, say you want to do a pick and fade, let me show you exactly what that would look like. So get the ball back over here. So I'm going to call Wimby's man. I'm going to go with a pick and fade. And then I'm going to come over here. Now what that means is that I have to respect that fade option. So my man I have to stay out of the paint, because if I try and help out, then they pass it to the 3-point man, and that ends up being an easy basket. So here's what changed with the 2K25. So now with this character, with the Rockets, I'm going to call for a fade, and I'm going to immediately switch. So that means that now I can stay in the bag. I accidentally switched twice. So you can see right here I called first switch. Where is it? Right there I called for a switch, but then I accidentally called it again, which canceled it. But either way, so I can immediately cancel it. So let me see. I'm going to switch back. So now I'm back on my man, and the offensive player is going to say, look, I want to put Wimby in the action. I'm going to call it, and I can immediately hold X and then switch off, which used to not be involved in the game. And that is huge, because that means that now if you want a certain player to stay in the corner, you can keep them in the corner. If you want to keep a certain player in the paint, you can keep them in the paint. Very, very big change that many people aren't talking about. All right, let's see. Let's see what else I want to talk about. So this is a little bit coaching related, but let me go ahead and turn the ball over real quick. Come on now. There we go. All right. So this is going to be a absolute detail oriented video. Yo, welcome. Talking about strategy. If you want to stick around, if you have any questions, just let me know. Right now, I'm going to be talking about DHOs. In DHOs, very, very underappreciated mechanic. The main reason why is because it's actually hard to do. So I'm going to show exactly how to do it. So right now I'm going to run DHO with Paul. So I'm going to hold to Paul, and then when he comes around, you see you have this weird interaction where he doesn't give it off to him smoothly. That's why nobody really is going to use it. But I've been able to use it quite a bit, get a lot of actions in flow, but it's really how you do it. So let me show you a little bit what that's going to look like. So obviously I'm going to dribble to him, I'm going to hand it off to him, but pay attention a little bit to whenever I get to him, what I'm going to do. Let me show you the line of pursuit that I'm aiming for. All right, so when I'm dribbling, I'm going to dribble towards like basically right in front of the player, but as I'm coming towards him, I'm going to actually veer off a little bit and go towards his front foot. I'm going to at the very last second, I'm going to end up going towards where he's dribbling to. So let me show you again. and then you get a little smooth transition, and then that gets you a wide open shot, and it allows you to do it in rhythm too. So what I'll typically do is I'll come over here and say I got a little pick and fade. That action ends up canceling out, and then do the same thing and go into a dribble action. Same thing over here, and it's able to immediately get into another action. You see a little bit. See, beautiful, beautiful. And it's not really like you have to rely on it. It's just when the pick and roll clears out, you could immediately go into something else. But here's the thing that I wanted to point out. So as I'm coming over here, it doesn't show like it, but whenever I'm heading towards this way, I end up taking an angle that's out here, and that's what's able to allow it to be a smooth transition for the handoff. Again, like I said, it does not show it when you're watching the gameplay, but with your controller, you want to head a little bit more towards, like you're going to bump into them a little bit. Let's see what else we can talk about. So, let me take off this controller. Shoot. Okay, so let's see what else we can talk about. Lots of changes. Let me see. Oh, I've noticed some off-ball screens have been pretty bad. So let me pass it to Champagne here, and you see that this screen is coming over here on this right-hand side. Doesn't really do anything, and that's something that has been a change in 2K25 that didn't exist before. Let me show again over here, and pay attention to the screen where Barnes is at. So typically I'll hit him here, and that screen has been very, very bad. A lot of players are able to get over screens a lot better than they used to before. See, barely screens them off. So here's another one here. Pass to the corner, doesn't even do anything. Big change that happened on 2K25. Welcome to the people who just came in right now. What I'm actually doing is talking about different changes from 2K24 to 25, defensive settings, offensive settings, and then I'm just finishing up with that. So I'm gonna get to some plays right now. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. I also should point out that I did make it to top 10, top 5 overall on the ladder. So I feel like I got some information to share if you are interested. So let's get to the settings. Let's get to the plays. Where's the visuals? All right. So I wanted to show the visual settings, and it's not showing, which makes it a little bit harder on y'all. So let me get that fixed real quick before I continue. Okay. So next thing I wanted to talk about was the user controlling passes. So right here, I think I might have to turn the ball over. Let me try and do that first, and then I'll continue. So user controlling passing has been a big change that I made over the last I think it's been like 6 months. It takes a little bit of getting used to it at first, but once you get used to it, it's been a big game changer. I've ended up saving a lot of turnovers. Not only saving turnovers, it's opened up more opportunities with different freelances. This is something that I haven't discussed really, and I think it's absolutely worth discussing. Why is it not showing? All plays. Show all. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to pass it here, and you're going to see that another play is immediately triggered. If I pass it to X, nothing happens. because a play is already in progress. So it's not going to let you go to a play when a play is already in progress. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. You're going to see the same thing happen. However, if I hold X and then pass, then it goes into a different play. Same thing happens over here. If I wait, now I see the marker, a play is going to get called. But if I hold, then it cancels the whole play and it says, forget it, we're going to go to something else. Huge change. And it's not been anything that I've talked about yet, but you can see one play is called right there. I can immediately go into another play. From here, I can go into a different play like this. So that is going to be a very big thing that I haven't talked about yet, that I really want to talk about. So the way it works, and let me come a little bit further back so I can explain this. I'm going to hold R1, the icon button. You also want to come into the settings and change this as well. It's going to be, let me see. This is what I have. Icon passing, full receiver control. Receiver control is handoff, pitch pass. So I'm going to hold X, and then I let go of X, and that gives the pass. But if I choose not to, so I'm holding O, but I can also do this. I can let go of R1, and then that cancels it, and it goes back into the action. Very important. And that's something that, again, I don't see people talk about, and it's prevented a lot of turnovers. FYI, if you're just checking in, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'm talking about different freelances, plays, defenses, that kind of stuff. So here he comes. He's gonna come around. I know that if I pass it to him early, it's not gonna run that play. So let me show it again. Basically, here's the play whenever you wait. He goes for this stagger screen, comes back to the top. All right, so let's run it again. So he's going to go to the stagger screen, come back to the top. But if I hold it and I go user control, it jumps into this other play, which it didn't do in the last one. Basically, what it's doing is whenever you user control, it stops the play wherever it's at. Everybody goes to their position, and it runs whatever play would normally be set. So let me show you another example how this works and how important it is. Whenever I'm at the top here, I'm going to pass it out here, nothing happens. Nothing happens at all because the play had already started. So again, a play starts, pass it, cancels the play. But whenever a play hasn't started, look what happens. See, a play started, so it continues the action, but it only stops it if you pass it before the play is actually done. So right here, nothing happens when I pass it from the top to the wing. Nothing happens when I pass from the top to the wing, because what's happening is the play is starting and it's starting something, and you're canceling it by passing out of it. However, play is going to start. I'm going to hold square, release, and then it allows me to get into another play, which is what I wanted. On here, it has one play, but I can hold, pass, and go into another play. I can cancel this play, go back into the same play. So this allows me a lot of flexibility with how you run your plays, and that's actually one reason why my fourth freelance. So if you don't know, my freelances are Jazz Motion, Flow, can't really show it here, but this one is Princeton, and then I've always been struggling with what should be the fourth play, which has now been 43 Motion. And part of the reason why I made the change to 43 Motion was precisely because of this user control, because right here it wants to run a play. If I pass it to him, it's going to run this play here. So that's the reason why it's so hard, because you don't really, you lose a little bit of control because you're going off of, this is what the computer wants you to do. So let me show you how this works and why it makes such a big difference with 43 Motion. So it's going to run the same play. He's going to come up. He wants the ball. I'm going to icon pass, hold the button, and then it immediately changes to a different play than what I just ran. So it gives you so much more opportunity. In this case, here's the play that I really don't want. I can user control to this side, breaks and goes into another play. Otherwise, that wouldn't work. So let me show you what I mean. So here, same setup, everything's the same. He comes over here, I pass out of it, nothing happens. That's an issue because it loses a lot of the flow and continuity when you can't control what plays you actually want. All right, so I talked a lot about offense. I talked a lot about defense. I can run some games if it gets down to that. But let me see what else I can talk about. Let's talk about my settings. Typically, I do smother, and then I do gap here. go under, and then for hedge, I'll do catch hedge, don't stay attached, and then I come down and I do help and no rotation. The reason why I don't change any of the other settings is because none of the other settings work at all. Uh, welcome. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. This is a live coaching video. Uh, I'm top 5 right now on the ladder, and I thought I'd share a little bit of the things that I think changed in the last 2K to this 2K. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So, okay, here are the settings. Smother, gap, go under, catch hedge, no, and then all the way down, help, and no rotation. Now, this is the first thing that I'm going to change if I actually run up against a really good player. I'm going to immediately go to no help. But typically, nobody really gets me out of this setting here. I stay in this setting all game long. And I'll explain what I do to keep people from getting me out of it. But first, I'm going to talk about this other portion over here, go under and catch hedge. These two go in unison, and let me show you how that works. So let me add another controller, and we can look at how the on-ball defense actually works. All right, so welcome. Talking strategy here. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So the setting that we're looking at is go under and hedge. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to call the screen. Actually, I want it to be somebody who I'm not using. So let's choose X. So X is going to come over. He's going to set a screen. And let me show you what this looks like. So right here you can kind of see. Let me move this guy out the way. All right, so here comes the pick. I'm going to call in the pick from Wemby. AI is guarding here. It's going to show you catch hedge. So I'm going to come up, and what happens on this, and this is the reason why I do this. As I talked about earlier, when I have smother, which is what I am trying to have, I always like doing the opposite. So he smothers, he goes under the screen. If he's back, he goes over the screen. So that's going to give him an easy opportunity here to get back in front of the defender. But the bigger thing is what this guy's going to do is slow down the roller in order for the rest of the help defense so that his man can get back. He is going to actually come up and show a little bit. Sengun in this position, he's going to show a little bit. What usually happens is that when the big man comes up immediately, the on ball, the user, the opponent, is going to immediately think, okay, defense switched. Let me back it up. Let me space the floor, and from there I can attack the big one-on-one. However, what happens is that he immediately goes back once the on-ball defender recovers. So he is just waiting for this guy to recover. Once he recovers, he immediately goes back. Now, what that opens up is the issue of, well, what if the guy slips to the basket? So let me show this one more time. So he's going to come up and he's going to hedge. But what I do is I show a little bit on the backside. Let me see. I show a little bit on the backside, just enough to prevent that pass from going over the top. One other thing that I do, so here he's going to come with the screen. And then while I'm controlling Van Fleet a little bit, once I bail and I go underneath the screen, what I'm actually going to try and do is I'm going to try and intercept the pass and force him to hesitate and hold the ball a little bit. I can run all of these in a game if y'all want me to run it in a game, but basically that's been allowing me a little bit of flexibility on defense, and it shows a look that they're not typically accustomed to. Last thing that I do to guard pick and rolls. So say we got a on-ball screen with center Wemby. We all know exactly what this looks like. So let me see. All right, so we know what this looks like. 5-out spacing, 1-5 pick and roll. However, one thing that I do all the time and works about 90% of the time is I'll take the offside corner guy, right? This is going to be the lowest defender. He's going to come over and rotate. Because this guy is showing, it's going to entice him to either one, reset, back out, and try and isolate, in which case everybody goes back to normal, or he's going to try and pass it to the basket, right? So he wants to get a quick pass out because it looks like he's double teamed. So this guy over here is going to rotate just show enough to prevent that quick pass. However, obviously, he's going to leave the guy in the corner. What's the solution? You're going to switch without actually switching. So on that player, see I'm in the corner, I'm going to hold the switch button, which is X. So in this case, over here we have Brooks. So I'm going to hold X. Brooks is going to come back, and at that same time, I'm going to rotate over here. And that's going to mean that the nearest player that's going to be open is Barnes over here. Typically, that's a harder pass for them to make. And whenever I rotate back up, I'm going to rotate this way. So let me show you again what it's going to look like. So whenever they run the pick and roll, so here comes the pick and roll, I'm going to switch, just show a little bit, and rotate up. Whenever we recover, I'm going to switch back over here like this. Or what I may do is switch, recover this way, user control the other guy, switch, show, recover back this way. That's a really big thing that's been allowing me to cause a little bit of confusion. And what you want to do is just break the offense down. You want him to not feel comfortable. So he's going to come in here, give you a look. You're going to come in, do your rotation here. He'll throw the ball out and abandon the pick and roll and then switch to isolation basketball, which is what you want. So let's see what else I can talk about. I think there was one other thing defensively that I think was pretty big. And then I'll switch to something else. Let me turn the ball over real quick. Okay. How long has this been going for? 38 minutes. Nice. All right. All right. So now we're talking about defense a little bit. So typically what I'll do is I'll guard I'll mix up things on defense. So I run 2-3 heavily. I'll run 3-2, probably a little bit more than I run 2-3. So 3-2, 2-3. I run man, and I'll play a little bit of off ball, but I also rotate a lot about the defensive settings that I have. So in past generation, you can't stunt. Let me see if I can pick a freelance where they'll stay. They'll stop moving around. I think Mavericks. Okay, so welcome. Talking about strategy. I'm top 10 on the ladder right now, and instead of making a edited video where I talk about so much of the different content, I thought I'd just make a live stream, talk about all the different strategies, changes from 24 to 25, and go over all of my settings, all that kind of stuff. Talked about defense already. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm finishing one last thing, and then I'm going to go over to the actual plays on offense. Anyways, so one thing that I do is I run man, on ball, off ball, 2-3, 3-2, and for different man settings, what I'll typically do is run Victor in the low man in the paint. So if my man comes out of the paint, then I immediately switch over here. So if we come over here and let's say my man is moving around over here, I may switch to stay in the paint. Come on. That's annoying. Come on now. Just try and talk some plays. All right, so here we go. So 2-3, 3-2. I'm gonna get to those in a second, but let's talk about man first. First thing is off ball. Like what I want to do is make sure that I'm staying in the paint. Thankfully, because of the new switch mechanics, that allows me to do that. So if my man switches, then I can immediately switch with the nearest person. If I want to be on the strong side, I can switch to the strong side. If I want to come and play into a helper position up here, Another thing that I like to do that I've been doing quite a bit is I'll switch to the on-ball player. As soon as he passes it away, then I'll switch to the next on-ball player to make sure that I constantly have my best defender on whoever has the ball. So he'll pass it again, and I immediately, sorry, I hit the wrong button. He passed it again, and I immediately switch to the nearest player. Come on now. Oh, cause maybe because he's guarding up. So I hold off a second, and then I come up, take this player. If he passes it over here, then I'll immediately switch, take this player over here. So that's one of the options that I do. I try and stay on the all-ball defender. I try and mix up which locations I'm going to be at. So say I want to be in the help position. So then I'll come over here, and now I'm in the help position. If my man cuts out, then I may switch to somebody else. So now I can continue to stay in the paint, or however I want to do this. Let's talk about something else. I don't like how he's cutting so much. Okay, so let's talk about another defensive setting. If I want to help from one pass away right here, what I'll do is I'll do left trigger here, and then I'm going to hold my character. Sorry, give me a second. Left trigger, hold my character. That's going to call a double team, but I'll stay in the gap. So that means that that Barnes in the weak side corner, as I'm sure you might have been able to see it already. Okay, so I call that left trigger, and then I hold my character. I'm not going to necessarily double team, but it's going to cause him to come up a little bit so he's in a good position. So as soon as they pass it one pass, I may not be able to recover to him in time, but I will be able to recover to the corner by the time he makes that, registers and makes that pass. So that's one thing that I'll do, is I'll come right here, but I'm ready when he makes that pass, I bail out to the corner. Another thing that I'll do is take over the big man here. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, left trigger and hold this guy, but when he comes up, now I just need to make sure that I'm in a position to help off of Barnes. Whenever they make that pass, now I'm kind of guarding between two players there. Same thing when he gets to the paint, I'll help with myself, so Barnes can slide down a little bit there. I also can switch here and then maybe help off of the guy in the opposite corner as opposed to the near side guy. And then from there, again, same thing. I'm trying to make sure I zone between the two. I think I covered basically everything that I did on defense. Let's switch over to offense. And I don't think I could flip sides, right? Oh, no. What am I doing? Let's switch over to offense real quick. And I'm going to talk about one last thing, and then we'll run some games. Oh, no, I'm missing something. All right, so very big. Let's talk about the positions and the matchups. Welcome if I haven't said hi already. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So point guard, shooting guard, forward, everybody understands the size of the players and who they're responsible for guarding and that kind of stuff. However, offensively, it doesn't really factor into play depending on what freelances you run. So if I'm going to use, say, Princeton Shin, I know that when I come up the court, everybody is going to go into, as soon as they get out of the paint, what the hell are they doing? Okay. I know on this particular freelance, all four of 1 through 4 are going to basically be equivalent inside of the freelance. So it doesn't matter who has the ball here. The 3 other players are going to line up here, here, and over here. So basically, it doesn't matter offensively what position your players are playing, unless that freelance dictates that you have to be in certain position. So if I switch over to Flow, welcome, talking about strategies. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Top 5 on the ladder. So like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. All right. So right now I'm in Flow. I know that in Flow, the players are going to space out on the 3-point arc, and you have the player who's on the one on the low post, one on the high post. So let me show you that real quick. So in this particular freelance, you have one on the low post and one on the high post. What that means is that in this particular freelance, it matters what position your players are playing. Let me get to my point. Okay, if I'm playing Flow, it doesn't matter if the player is here or if the player is here. It doesn't matter if he's here, or if he's here. So it has to do a lot about how you feel comfortable. But where it does matter, and this is where it's big, is who is going to be your best defender, who's going to be best at in your fast break, where you want to keep players hidden. This is both offensively and defensively. So, for example, if I feel like my best defender is Wemby, I may put him at the point guard position because offensively, if I know I'm in Princeton, it doesn't matter if he's here, 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 or here. Every single part of the plays are going to function identical. So if I put him in this position, that means that when we get the rebound, the point guard. I don't know if any of you noticed. Let me show what it looks like real quick. All right, turn the ball over real quick. This is where it becomes really important. So, all right, I'm gonna take a shot here. All right, so this is where it is extremely important what positions you're playing for on the offensive side, and you have to consider both. Welcome to the chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Right now, we're talking about substitutions and where you should have your players at. So now I can't tell exactly which position each players are playing at. Everybody's kind of playing the same thing. However, notice that Chris Paul is not heading towards the other side of the court. That's because he's playing on the point guard position. So if you have your best defender, and this is why people would comment and have said stuff where like, oh, I don't know how you have Bowen playing the point guard position when he's not a point guard. In 2K, it doesn't matter what position you're playing because you can still give it to your shooting guard every single time. That's your point guard. It just matters what icon you're using. In this is one of a few instances where it helps on the offensive possession, because if I have a player here who's an excellent defender but is not good in fast break, well then that's where it's helping, because look at where everybody else is doing. Like Wemby, Champagnie, Barnes, all of them are going down court, but the point guard is not. So if you have somebody like LeBron, if you have somebody like Bowen, somebody who is better going in fast break, don't put him at the point guard position. Even if you want him running your offense, it doesn't help you. You want him to be in one of those three other positions, regardless of what it is. Let me give you another example, but on the defensive side. So I kind of think I made my point. I think I might be forgetting one more thing. Yeah, so typically what I'll do is I'll put Wemby here. Not always, but typically what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll put Chris Paul at the small forward position. But here's where I get a problem with Wemby's versatility as well as Chris Paul's age. I always had Tony Parker here, and what that means is your small forward is not going to stay back. So when we just ran this set here, or when we just got the rebound here, which is what I'm talking about, this would be, when I was playing with the 05 Spurs, this would be Bowen, who would be somebody who is not a good offensive player. I don't want this guy running down court if he's a good offensive player. I want everybody else. So in this particular case, Barnes would be Tony Parker's position or something like that. Somebody who I actually want in fast break. So whoever is a good offensive player, who you want in fast break, I'd put him at the square position or the small forward position. They'd still be my point guard, but that's how it would function. Defensively, it also is important as well. Let me show you what it's going to look like defensively by having that person in that position, and where it becomes important. You can also change your matchups, which is crucial. Changing your matchups makes let me see. Was buffed a little bit in the newest generation. Changing your matchups went from it wouldn't take effect until after a timeout was taken. Now it takes effect. I think it's after every possession. So if you said, "All right, Wemby, I want you to guard the point guard," immediately the next possession he'd be guarding the point guard, which is a huge buff. So you can change those how you want them a lot better. Let me show you what this looks like with zone, and I think I'm ready to go into a game. All right. So typically he'd be over here. All right, let me do this one. So you can see Square is on the left hand side, circle is on the right hand side, triangle L2. This is what a typical 3-2 looks like. Welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. This is what a 3-2 typically looks like, and this is the reason why the substitutions matter. If you have somebody like Steph Curry, you want him to be in this small forward position, because the small forward position, in addition to him getting out in fast breaks better, it also is going to keep him in that far left hand side corner out of the play. So if you're running a zone here, I know that Steph Curry is going to be far out of the set. He's not going to be as exploitable, even if, as you're seeing here, even if let me see. Okay, so even in this situation here, where Steph Curry, which would be in the position where Barnes is at here, even though he's being isolated one-on-one, you know that you can also put your best defender at the L2 position, which means that you can control a little bit about where you want your players to line up with in terms of talent-wise. So I'd want to put somebody who's a weak defender in this position here, and somebody who's a strong defender right behind him. So now you're limiting the amount of space that the offensive player has, because it's not like he can kind of dribble and lose you out here. So you kind of box him in a little bit using the sideline, and then you also have the big player that you want behind him, and you can have a little bit of control with that. So, and here's where I was talking about the situation with Wemby and where this becomes a problem, which is a good problem to have, actually. Typically what I'd say is I want my best non-shooting player to be at the point guard position. So in this case, Sohan, perfect example, horrible shooter, very solid defender. I'd want him here. And I'd want my best fast break player to be at this position here, right? Typically that's how it would work. However, my best fast break player is Wemby. My best defender is also Wemby. My best post player is also Wemby. So I get into a little bit of conflict, because I want to keep them at all the positions, but I can't really do that. You also have a little bit of a symmetry issue here that I kind of want to talk about. So let me look at the big picture here. This is something that I haven't discussed a lot of these things on the channel. We're going through this all together at the same time. So you have a symmetry issue. Obviously, basketball teams have 5 players on the court at the same time. You can't divide 5 up evenly on the court. If you draw a lineup here, right down the middle, you're either going to have 3 on one side, and 2 on the other, or you're going to have one person somewhere zoning between the two. So one thing that I'll typically do is I'll put my best defender at that point guard position. So in a 3-2 zone, this point guard is guarding the widest amount of space, because you have 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, one guy who's kind of half on both sides. So you want that to be your best player, so he can help equally on both sides and have the biggest impact. If I put my best player and he's on one side, like look where he's at now. He's on the left-hand side. If they come over here, then that means he's already out of the play, because he's zoning onto one half. You got 2 on one side, one of them is your best player. So in a 3-2, your best player should be in the point guard position. In a 2-3, however, so let me change it up real quick. In a 2-3, now you have these 2 over here. Let me see. Now you have these 2 over here on one side, these 2 over here onto the other side, and you would want to use or control this guy and make sure he's kind of zoning in between 2. And now Wemby, the low paint guy, is zoning between 2 sides. So that means that you got 2, 2, and your best defender, again, is able to help on both sides. Very important. All right, so let's kind of go into a game. I think we've done a lot of talking. Give me a second. All right. Welcome. So, excuse me. Record right now is 18-0. I actually have played more games. I've used my wife's account because I like to play a little bit casually. So, in that account, and actually it was literally on that account top 100 as well. But what I was gonna say is that I'll lose a lot of the games just because I when I play casually, I just quit the game because I'm like doing something else. So I only got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so I'll just play for a little bit. Either way, overall, here we go, number 6 overall, and technically, this person here is the same person. And honestly, I was thinking that he might be cheating, but I've played already like 40 games, and I don't think I've been legitimately close to losing any of them. But yeah, still top five. So I kind of want to play a game, but I'm a little bit nervous because the Wi-Fi. I don't know that it can. I might be lagging if I'm streaming and playing online. But let me see. I don't know. Let me go ahead and play a game. I also put myself into a chat so that way, if I'm talking too much, I'm not going to be bothering the opponent. I kind of want to wait a little bit to see if one more person joins before I start the game. Let's talk about tiers. 76ers, accurate, honestly, solid team. Bucks, people use all the time. Celtics use all the time. The Heat, nobody ever runs with. Lakers, Nuggets are people have been using Nuggets quite a bit more. Thunder are solid, and surprisingly, the Spurs are in here. Honestly, probably don't belong, but I'm really glad because that means that I'm going to actually be able to play against a lot of other common teams like the Celtics, Lakers, and that kind of stuff. Coach settings, manual, all it's same stuff. It's nothing complicated. So I'm gonna move Chris Paul over, as we talked about. I'm fine with Barnes here, fine with Champagnie. I also want to make sure that I don't want to go into it too much, but just trust me, Champagnie here. I'm gonna move Wemby to the power forward position, and then from here I'm gonna put in another big. I'm gonna put Mamukelashvili. So I'm running 2 bigs. The reason why I put Wemby at this position is because on the power forward, that's gonna allow me to go up against Tatum a little bit more. That's also going to, in certain freelances, allow him options where Mamukelashvili is not gonna have because of the freelances how they work out, but. I don't know that I'll be able to explain them in a short amount of time, but either way. I wish it would show the advanced stats, honestly. I really wish I could see what my stats are. 100%, obviously. I'm 18-0. So this should be easy, except for the fact that the Wi-Fi may not be able to support it. 100%, 64 plus 5. So defensively, I'm going to be able to keep him well below 64. All right, let's talk settings. Smother, gap, under, over, or sorry, hedge, no. And then, actually, I haven't tested the fact if the game glitches out whenever you, oh shit, that sucks. In 2K24, if you change your freelances in scrimmage, it'll crash the game within like the first couple of plays. So I might actually lose this game by crashing. So hopefully not. Hopefully they fix that shit.
This is Kevin Harlan, and on the sidelines, Hall of Famer David Aldridge. They're free-falling right now, piling up loss after loss. We'll see if they can bounce back.
A lot of people run attacking the basket because the game is still new.
And tough. I mean, that could very well continue against the team they're facing here in this game. It's not going to be easy to end this streak.
If it's a zone, you really want to make sure that you're attacking the paint. You don't want to settle.
Drives the offense.
You know, Greg, with the combination of Wembanyama and Coach Greg Popovich,
on
the Spurs should be a great defensive team.
It's hard with a young roster.
Whenever you're playing off-ball defender, you want to make sure that you
someone's gonna make a mistake.
That you close out by also tapping fair. That allows you to.
Wembanyama is a specimen.
That allows you to
Might have
close ground a
rim
little bit
there
faster.
with a purpose.
And oh boy, a lot of contact there, but he gets the call and will shoot two.
I cannot see the score, so
Defense fouling there
gotta assume that I'm winning.
the layup, but that's exactly
Welcome.
what you need to do.
Ladder grinding right now, also
Now, some
coaching.
have argued that
So if you have any
Wembanyama
questions, go ahead and ask.
deserved
I'm going to be talking
Defensive
about
Player of the
strategy.
Year consideration in his rookie
So
year.
I switched
Kevin,
off
I can
ball,
see
did
where
not
they're
work.
coming from. His team went from a bottom
It did not
five
work.
defense
Sometimes it doesn't register, but you want to hold X when you're in that corner position when you're rotating.
Is amazing.
Make sure that you have help rotating behind you.
Celtics on offense. Outplayed in the previous game on their schedule,
No way,
losing to
no
the
way.
Raptors.
You guys, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out, though. If you're going to shoot the low 30s, you're going to end up losing
Oh,
a
he
lot of
missed
games.
that.
Yeah, rough outing for their offense. You saw a spark here and there, but their main scorers just couldn't stay hot.
Good defense.
Victor
Let's go.
Wembanyama grabs the rebound.
User control
Well, we
passing
didn't see
prevents
the
you from
same
turning
kind
over a
of
lot
control
more.
we're used
You can
to
also
seeing
use
from
your
him. This guy is
cancel.
usually a tremendous finisher.
Hold an L2 to take the
And
ball.
there's the foul. It's on Jaylen Brown.
First personal foul.
I can
That
see
is
that they're in
his
the zone right
first foul of the
here.
game.
This is what my strategy is whenever we're in zone. So I
Now
pass it
here's
to the
Paul.
big man here, and then back
Taking a
cut
look
to
at
the
his
opposite
stats,
big
he's
man.
averaging around 9.5 points a game.
Easy. Easy. You don't want to settle for
After
three.
taking the nice feed on the run.
Switching off ball because I want to make sure
How
that
about the vision
that I'm giving them different looks.
to get
Switching over
teammates
here.
involved.
They get a hand on it.
Okay.
Outside Tatum. 6 on the shot clock.
No
Brown. And the rejection by Wembanyama.
Going into the freelance set. Right now I'm running
After
slow.
Champagny.
User control passing.
Here's Barnes.
Going to run into the off-ball screen. The Champagny. Not open. Chris Paul, Wemby.
And the foul
Oh.
called on
Try to pass
Porzingis.
it in and register.
That is his first foul of the game.
If y'all want me to not talk as much,
First
just let me know. I don't
Puts him in
mind.
the bonus.
Third team foul.
And just under 2.5 minutes elapsed here in the first. Wow, what better way to start a new year than with NBA hoops. Craig,
Closing out with
not
square.
feeling tired, are you? We got a long way to go.
Right here I
there,
can switch off
partner.
ball.
Oh, I'm feeling good. Hopefully, these players can
Fake
say
it.
the same. I'm sure many of them did.
Switching
stay
off
up
ball so I can get back to the
past
shoot.
their
There we go.
bedtime last night.
San
Go
Antonio
now.
foul.
And you watch Jason Tatum.
We don't play now right now. Grinding. We're top 5 right now.
See, across the board, the numbers are pretty similar,
Shooting from
and
Austin.
the effort never
On
wavers.
poverty.
Jason
Hey, that's
Tatum
funny.
continues to emerge,
I was like,
guys,
hey,
as one of the
that's
most
what it
elite
is, bro.
players on both ends. We know on the offensive end he's
what
a
it is.
dangerous three-level scorer. He's also capable of locking you
I
up
also don't
defensively.
try and shake the screen. Like, that's the cheesiest
And
shit.
he makes all three.
We running flow
It's
right now.
safe to say Jason Tatum is a bona
See, he's still in that
fide
zone, so I'm going to do the same
He
thing.
certainly is,
Off ball cut by
Kevin,
the
and
big.
really been a big-time
minutes
star from
remaining
the
in the
time he was
first.
23
minutes.
Pass out to the
years
corner.
old.
Obviously,
Lots of pressure on this
I
young
still gotta get my
player,
shot right.
but Jason's not only
But I'm 18 and 0,
embraced it,
so-
he's thrived under it.
It means something.
Here's Pritchard. Again, the miss by the Celtics. Pass to Barnes. To the paint. Spurs working the ball around now.
Oh, good defense.
Stolen by Tatum. Fast break, here we go. And
That's fine.
slammed dunk by Tatum.
You see the level of
From the same thing,
verticality
so
that Jason
to the
Tatum
wing,
brings to the table.
And then
Nice.
back up by Wemby. He ain't going to guard that.
To the inside.
Easy. You just want that clean, easy look against the zone. He's just trying to force you to shoot threes. I don't need to shoot threes if he's in zone.
Puts it perfectly into the hands of his teammate.
So the Celtics call timeout. Their first. And while we got him,
All right, let's go 2-3 right
over
here.
to our terrific reporter, David.
For 2-3, you want to come up on the guy to the side of the ball. So I'm going to come up right here. The wing on that side. I'm going to come up on the left side.
Impact the game. The coach told me Tatum has improved the way he reads the game, how he responds to a defense. He's faster. That means we have to be crisp with how we rotate and send a double. Not a lot of wiggle room on the floor when Tatum is processing information. Back to you guys.
Thank you, David.
Very
Four
tough
on the
contested shot. But I'm not going to
Second
stay in the
chance
zone.
shot.
Just because I had a good look on a zone
Yikes,
play
with
doesn't
another
mean I'm going to
miss.
stay in the zone.
To the wing
I
on
got to
the
make
left.
sure I'm mixing it up. So back to
And a miss
man.
there on the triple. And Joe White will bring it up for Boston. Here's Horford.
Double from the corner. I'm going to zone between
Ball
both.
over to help.
There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
And it's out of bounds. Last touch by White.
San Antonio ball.
I should have moved my camera onto the other side. I think I was playing COD or something.
There's 25 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Down low.
Ah, good defense.
And stolen by Horford. Teardrop shot. And it's White missing. And stolen by White. Out to the wing. Here's Pritchard. Again, the miss by the Celtics.
Oh my God, come on.
Terrific closeout there to challenge the three.
Am I winning? I can't even tell. That's my fault. I should move the camera.
Close under control, and he's more than up to the task.
Tie game in San Antonio.
The Celtics. 10. Your Spurs, you
And close game underway so far. We'll see if either of these teams can jump out in the second quarter. And guys, what's your take on the Spurs so far?
Guys, I love their defense in that first period.
Still in zone.
They were in position
So I'm gonna pass
and
it to the
just
wing.
challenging shots.
He comes up.
Well, I think they combined
Backdoor
great
cut.
intelligence with great
Oh,
effort, and you can
shit,
see the
my fault.
results.
Outside, Porzingis takes the three. The rebound by Victor Wembanyama.
One thing that you can also do against zone is just try and get out in fast break.
First chance of the season for them to go up against this Celtics team.
Why is he not
Inside,
defending that?
here's Mamu Kelishvili.
I may have to just do that on the
Chance,
opposite
though,
way.
to take the lead.
Have Wemby on the
Here's
backside.
Brown. Score the basket. Nice shot after missing his first attempt.
assisted.
Well, that's
So here's what I'm
where
gonna do. I'm gonna
his
do the
athleticism
exact same
and
thing, but on the other
agility
side.
for Jaylen
The pass
Brown,
it to Champagne.
navigating to a high percentage look.
And then
And the
have
way the
Wemby cut on the
Celtics can
backside.
attack teams' doors with their 5-out set, it's impossible to fully defend it.
Kevin, there is so much space on the floor because they have shooters at every single position and guys who balance that shooting with an ability to get off the dribble drive. This is as good an offense as we've seen.
Brown
Switch
with
over
it.
here.
Guarded now
Constantly
by
switching to
Barnes.
kind of throw a little bit of confusion on
Here's
you.
Hauser.
Good shot though.
He's
Good
down
shot.
1 for 2
But
with
Wemby's
that
down
bucket.
court right now. I can push
And
you.
this is outstanding vision by Jaylen Brown. This guy dishing the ball beautifully to
There
his
you go.
teammates.
Taking back
Switch
the
to his
lead
zone.
once
I'm gonna
more.
go 3-2
Give these
because I want to
teams
keep
credit. Man, they are
Wemby
battling.
involved in the action a little
Neither
bit.
team willing to give an inch and neither able to seize the momentum.
contest.
This has been a fascinating one to watch.
Over in the corner, Barnes. Wembanyama outside. To the middle. Wembanyama. Deadly.
The backdoor cut. So easy.
And standing easily over
I
7 feet.
don't know if
Wemby
I've talked
gets
too much
that
about
ball near the
3-2
hoop.
and how to run
Literally
it.
nothing a defender can do.
I might have
Such
a
a
video on that already, so I don't
multi-talented
know if I want to
threat
talk
on
about
the
it.
offensive end, and you love his confidence.
Back to Paul. Shoots the three.
Easy.
And again, it's
It's
San
zone.
Antonio
Like, what do you do?
with
You
the
just
three.
make shot.
Well, how about being on the other end of a nice pass? Chris Paul usually sets guys. That time he is set.
Brown, no good. And the foul on Drew Holiday.
So, like I said, we top 5 players,
First foul of the game.
and that's how we do
The
it.
Celtics making a switch here.
First team foul.
Let's see. He's still in zone. I
We're now a
can
little over
he's
2.5
sitting there.
minutes into the second
So,
quarter.
pass it to the
Ball
side,
outside.
into the big man. Center is going to come over. He did not come
So
over.
it's going to be a
So it's a
3-second
3 seconds.
violation out there on the defense.
I know what to do against the
And a
zone.
closer look here at the
I know how to get
shooting
laid. I don't need to shoot
for
threes
San
all the time.
Antonio.
Al Horford.
How about the ball movement so far? I mean, the unselfishness, everyone here just playing for one another, and that can be infectious.
Yeah, and their assertiveness in the paint so far tonight has been impactful. They're really
He
making
needs to
it
get out
hard
of the
for the
zone.
interior
All right, I'm in man
defense.
now. Let's try and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
So here I am. I'm going to rotate on the backside. Oh, shit. Didn't work.
Threes they're allowing.
Close out with square.
The kick out to Brown. Back to Tatum. They
That
need
Wemby close
this.
out. That Wemby close
That
out. That's
shot
all it
no
is.
good.
All alone from mid-range. They know he won't miss many of those.
Nice. Just easy spin moves. Spin moves have been really bust, I feel like, in this game. If you're not doing spin moves, you're doing something wrong.
The Spurs shooting their fourth shot at the foul line here. For years, it seemed like the league was going to go small.
The game's going pretty
Seems
smoothly.
like size is back in
Let me
fashion.
see if I can move this camera around. You know, I don't want to risk something happening.
Even Giannis, I wouldn't consider him small. And
Okay.
just overall around the
and-
NBA, it feels like bigger teams are having more success.
Just
Just
taking
a solid performance
deep
on the
breaths. That's what you
interior.
want.
The rebounding has been off the charts.
To the paint. Pass to Wembanyama.
Oh, good defense.
It's hauled
Good
in
defense.
by Cornette.
And the activity he shows
Yeah,
around
good
the
shot, good
rim is why he is
It didn't make
such
it.
a respected defender.
And what you love about his work defensively, the ability to challenge and change shots without fouling.
And now we've got some time to check in
Good
from the
defense.
sidelines. What do you got for us, DA?
Kevin, coming out of high school at 6'0", Derek White didn't receive any full scholarship offers. He says it was humbling, but it drove me to get better. Each time you have the doubters, you just put a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I think it's
29th
over.
pick
He
overall
don't
in
know what to do.
2017. He's come a long way.
Boston foul.
Kevin, those chips.
Jason Tatum.
You're
Second
so right,
personal
David.
foul.
Thanks. He's become a heck of a
Third
player.
team foul.
GA, these Boston Celtics
Back
are
alive.
unquestionably a top-tier
Boston
offensive unit.
timeout.
Tremendous shooting, excellent instincts with the ball. Yeah, they are a model offense in many ways, making it tough for many teams to keep up with them.
Now,
29-16.
timeout called by Boston.
Next time I stream, I'll move the camera over to the other side. 29-16, so it's going pretty
Sometimes
smoothly.
it just feels like misses become
All right, let's go to
contagious.
men
He
defense.
wants to settle
I'm
his
gonna try
guys
and
down right now.
I'm gonna try to match up with whoever the
To
best
end
player
the
is.
drought,
Messed
a
up a little bit
rebound
there.
by Victor Wembanyama. Spurs leading by 13.
Boston foul.
Oh,
And
he
the call
fouled
will
it.
be against
Al
Al
Horford.
Horford. That's his first
personal
foul of the
foul.
game, and the bonus will go to the free
Fourth
throw
team
line.
foul.
And not the guy you
At
want
the
to
line.
send to the line. He has been automatic.
Chris Paul will go down as
All
one
right,
of the
I'm switching
great
on
floor
to him.
generals to ever play the game. He
think
is
he
the
wants that.
maestro at orchestrating offense.
Oh,
A nice
good
shot
shot.
by Tatum.
For that, I'm not trying to.
makes plays.
I'm not trying to get a
like
foul,
that
so I
in
just
his sleep.
hold
The
up on the
game
direction
is just
button.
far too easy.
Back to Wembanyama. Here's Champagne.
Thank you. He should get out of zone, honestly.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, those are starting to add up, guys. Up their last 5 baskets,
Some guarding ball here.
3 have been triples.
And through one half, it
That's the
hasn't
end of the
even been
first half
close.
for the score. Your Spurs.
Anybody have any questions? Anything at all?
Welcome back. The
I think I've been able to show a little bit of defensive
defense.
settings, explain a little bit on offense. Let's see. I think he's still in zone. He's in a 3-2 now.
And Barnes has got the ball here for the
Pass it
San
here.
Antonio Spurs.
And then cut on the backside.
16-point lead, the largest margin in the game. And Wembanyama throws it down.
He really does not want to get out of
Monster
zone.
game for Wemby with the
Get that
matchup
outta here.
issues he creates. I'm not sure anyone in this
Champagne.
league can stop him when he's
Second
on.
personal foul.
So I tell you what, he earned his money on that foul.
There's no point. There's very
He
little
is
point
3
to
for
do
3
running
for the free throw
transitions
line.
because most of the time,
Mightily at the free
especially
throw
if you
line
have
in their last
your
game.
best transition player
White
at the
people conquered the world. Emoji globe showing Americas.
And good on the second, so he makes them both. San Antonio leading by 16. To the inside. Wembanyama. And the layup is
Anyway,
good after an nice
there's no
lead
point to
pass.
do running transition because honestly,
Wembanyama got 17 now.
they
How many times have we seen a possession like that from
they're
them
usually
today?
able to get it out in
Ending
fast
with a
break without any
basket
issue.
Coming off a pretty pass.
Oh, I got him behind me.
And they've been quickly, not just on the scoreboard, but really
tried
in the
to-
rebounding
I tried to put him in
numbers
jail.
as well.
Spurs working the ball around now. Hits it from three-point range.
Bro, get out of your zone.
Barnes has got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game.
I'm going to switch off ball because I want to make sure that
3 for 3, dictating the pace on
somebody's
the
guarding
offensive end. They're
Porzingis.
rolling early.
Pass to Wembanyama.
what the?
Looks for Paul. Hits it to him. Down low.
Oh my God! How is he not doing something different?
He's putting on here. When he gets it going, Victor is pretty much unstoppable.
Here's Tatum. Shot's good.
Jason
Brown
Tatum.
making the play.
Assist goes
16
to
points for him.
Jalen
Coming
Brown.
off a big game, his confidence.
Don't be
couldn't
afraid to
be
do
higher,
a
and coach knows it.
Well, the
inverted pick and
best
roll.
players to me deliver
Oh,
night
he's in the
after
zone. What am I-
night
what am I
after
thinking?
night. So as long as he's hot,
You
keep
can't do pick and roll
riding
against
it.
him.
Three-pointer.
My apologies for putting the camera on the wrong side. I had unplugged it, and I didn't change the settings. And I put it on. Score is 46 to 22.
Time called here. The Celtics
Only reason is
decide
because he's in the zone and he refuses to get out of
So,
it.
Greg, you played the point.
Let's play from 3-2.
Create a player. If you had to pick a
3-2, you want to keep
position to play.
your two bigs separate
would
as
it
much
be?
as possible.
Ooh, good question.
If the ball's on one
Probably
side, then you can use the
Small
control of the
forward,
opposite wing.
I'd like
play
to
the
be a
3-2 for the rest of the
fearsome finisher who can soar and dunk over everybody.
Pass to Barnes. And that'll be San Antonio.
Here's the play.
Goes out of
Square,
possession.
page 2,
Yeah,
and then
gets a
square, or
finger
left
on it,
square
but just
2,
can't quite
square.
come up
And I
with
use
the
the control of the point guard
But
here.
a really good
I'm going to come
read
over to
on
the strong
his
side over
part,
here, but the
being
play is going to be
disruptive
for
at the
circle.
defensive end right now.
I missed the cut to the Wemby.
outside.
Cut. Good
Comes up
defense,
empty
good
down
defense,
low.
honestly.
And so it's Boston with it. At the conclusion of this game, they're off to Minnesota where they'll take on the Timberwolves.
I'm going to switch right here because I want to keep Wemby
Over in the
inside.
corner, Porzingis.
Switch on the off ball so
Back
Paul
to
can take
Holiday.
over the big. Take over Paul, switch back. Oh,
Wide
I
open, he
tried to
fired.
switch back and I didn't. That's
That
okay.
three off the mark.
You might have to look
He
at that
couldn't
again, slow
believe
motion.
how open he was. He just couldn't convert it.
And we talk
He
about
really needs to
Jerry
switch out his
Windhorst.
zone.
How
I don't know what's
impressive
going on.
has his rise been?
Kevin, it's been both impressive and sometimes feels improbable. He was not highly recruited. There were no expectations on him.
Whenever I
to
make
rise
that
to the
rebound and I give it to the
This
point
guy
guard,
has turned
what I'll
himself
do is I'll
into
use
one
the
of the
control
premier
and
defenders from the guard spot. An excellent
I'll
shot
use the
blocker
control pass
and
because what you can
so
do is you can
rock
cancel that by
steady as
letting
a
go of the
ball
trigger
handler
first,
on the offensive
as
end.
opposed to just
They need a good offensive
committing to the
possession.
pass.
Yeah, they've gone a long time without a bucket.
Again, the miss by the Celtics. On offense, here are the Spurs. They're on a 14-4 run right now. Pass to Champagny.
Oh, good recovery.
Back to Wembanyama. Here's Mamu Kelishvili.
Good
White covering.
defense. Good defense, honestly.
Another one falls for San Antonio.
Well,
Okay.
coaches
Yeah,
might
you
discourage
take on
that
3-2.
kind
You
of
want to take
look,
control
but
of the
he'll
bigs.
take it
Make sure you
anyway.
keep them separate. If you
He's
got
wide
somebody
on the
in
wing.
the paint, you can let go of one
Yes,
to control the other.
Holiday with the assist that time.
So I'll use the control
White's got his
pass
first
to X.
bucket of the game, and he's
or-
on the board for three.
So say I want to pass it to square. I'll hold it. If I want to cancel, I can cancel.
And Barnes has got the ball here for San Antonio. Brown wide
He's been
open. He
missing everything, bro.
fires. Set it up with the fake, but it's offline.
I mean, he made a
Pass to
few
Barnes.
shots at the beginning. See, I canceled right there, and I'm going to go to Wemby
Wembanyama,
instead.
left side.
Backdoor cut by Mamu.
Inside. Mamu
Good
Kelishvili.
Kristaps Porzingis has proven over the course of his young career that he
The
is
score is
willing
something
to
like
be
20
a force as a
points
shot
up or
blocker.
some shit like that.
To the inside. Here's
Good,
Kata.
good, good, good.
Uses the
You gotta
glass to
attack the
finish the
basket against
lane.
the zone. Don't just settle.
What an
Brown.
excellent post-entry pass. Good things happen when you make that
I know I
next
talked about the
look.
dribble handoff. Want some dribble handoff right here?
Pass to
Ooh,
Champagny.
beautiful.
Back to Barnes. Now Wembanyama.
He's in the zone,
By
bro.
Paul.
I can't.
Nobody around. Again, the miss by the Spurs. It's going to be a goaltending call here, so they'll count the bucket.
I think they beat me in that quarter.
That's a very close call. I'm sure he thinks it's a clean block.
From here, you want to just advance the ball, call timeout, and then you can run a play. On the sideline out of bounds, what I'd like to do is call the play with the left button, go to the next page, and then I run triangle or X or square. I only run the ones on that side. You can see there, I'm up by 21. He's in zone. He doesn't want to get out of it. I think his play menu is broken. So let's run triangle here. Quick sideline too. The sideline out of bounds plays, I think I already covered in a previous video. It takes a second. It's 2K. And then there's the play. Oh, didn't pass.
And so it's San Antonio with a 21-point lead to end the quarter. Their defense has been at
50. The Celtics, 29.
And we reach the fourth quarter in a game that may be already out of hand.
All right, so we're in 3-2. I'm going to use the control triangle to the left, L2 to the right, triangle to the right. I'm going to bail out
when you
here.
talk about the NBA going
Take this spot.
the last 6 MVP stores,
Good play. He should have made
international players.
Kevin, what I love about this is the NBA wants the best players, regardless of where they come from. There was a time where American players just dominated that.
So easy. It's so broken.
Fact of the matter is, it's good
Just
for
pump
the
fake
game
until he
to
jumps.
get the baddest, best players in the world,
So
and
stupid.
we've done that.
A generational talent. For Wembanyama, the sky is the limit and the reality.
To the left side wing. Over in the corner, Brown. Back
Look at that defense. Look at that defense.
The tray.
Oh, he almost had
The
that.
rebound by the Spurs.
Well, they've been better than good on the glass today. And
Come on, I just wish he played some defense. You use the control both bigs. Try and keep them away from each other. If you can't, then you can do one big and the opposite wing. That's also works pretty good. And then, of course, if he's making shots like that, all you have to do is defensive settings, right trigger, and then you just put extend pressure, and then that takes care of it.
We're guarding. KYP, know your personnel.
San Antonio leading by 23. To the paint. And stolen by Horford. Tatum with it. He's picked up by Paul. And he gets it to go as they call the foul. He's on his way to the line for one more.
First personal
Defensively,
foul.
they are on their heels every time the ball comes inside.
And what do you guys think so far about the offensive approach for San Antonio?
And they're playing beautiful basketball right now, racking up the assists by playing so unselfishly, just finding the open man.
Boy, the long ball
You
has
see, that's
been
why you don't want to
another
settle with
point of
threes.
emphasis for this group
It's
tonight.
I'm gonna
Their
switch off
shooters
because
are
I want
finding open
to play
spaces
help defense. I don't
and
want to.
firing without hesitation.
It's Brown on the wing. From
Good pass, good pass.
They get it back. Pass to Porzingis. Back to Holiday. Paul with the
There you go,
steal.
good stuff.
On the wing, Barnes. Now, Wembanyama. Headed by Porzingis.
Wemby's got 23.
Big slam by
Wow.
Wembanyama. This is why you gotta push him
Get
out
that
of the
shit out of
paint.
here. I'm sorry, YouTube. I didn't mean to cuss.
And it's Jason Tatum with the foul. And that'll be his third foul.
Bro, Wemby is so broken. 34 to 57. Here's the score for y'all. And let's look at the leaderboards. Nothing changed though. Overall, there we go. Number 6 overall. Still a few games to get to number 5. Yeah, we right there. 6 overall. This really should, in my opinion, work off of ELO. it should not be win percentage, because win percentage means that you could be out here with 5 wins and be on the top 100, which is kind of stupid. But to be fair, to have 29 wins and 0 losses, you gotta be pretty damn good at the game. Like, the average player should have 50% win percentage. 29-0, you gotta be pretty good. All right, 19-0. That's where we sitting at. I guess I'm gonna cut it right there. Thank you for watching.